Yo, what's up, people? Happy Friday to you. Feedback Friday. I know I threw a curveball at you. Both dark ambient stuff. Believe it or not, this is the same exact happy modular rack that we've used a whole bunch of times. Bounce a whole bunch of modular stuff. Just tweaked it a little bit. That's all. It's the squirrel fishing one I do. Yes, it is. So squirrel fishing, just incredibly tweaked. Saffron, welcome in. Greetings from Trippy, Maryland, says Paul. It is Trippy, Portland as well, for sure. I think it will be all day. Andromia, how are you? Daniel, welcome in. Some merits. Back-to-back reigning champ right here. Some merits. Cashed a golden ticket while he wasn't even here earlier this week. That's amazing. Great stuff, by the way. Well, I'm glad that you guys are into the dark ambient stuff. I do make a fair bit of dark ambient side. A lot of it. Oh yeah, the isolationism. Oh, the clinical too, dude. Yeah. Yo, what up, Lumesh? House Parlude, welcome in. Javar, how are you? Need to soak it in. Well, if you guys really like it that much, I can play you lots and lots and lots more. Of all of the things that just fall right out of me, this stuff, and of course the horror and the sci-fi cinematic stuff as well. But this is, yeah, it's ridiculous. I've been known to like make complete tracks in like less than 10 dark ambient. It's kind of one of those little things I guess I just don't focus on in the stream. Oh, well, thank you. This one, so typically my routine in the mornings is finish up a group team morning meeting and then rush right over and start setting everything up for live stream. Which gives me approximately like 2 or 3 minutes basically to fire up the DAW and change some text over here. Like I haven't even this, and then put a rack up here inside of Logic and tweak it a little bit. So it's really just a couple minutes of tweaking on each one. I'm gonna hit play and see what magic happens. Oh, yeah. Javara, that's a great idea. I'll actually explain this one really quick. It'll take me probably 1 minute to walk through this whole thing. So I dropped the BPM 60, eighth notes. I added a small amount of shuffle, 9%, and then I went through and reworked the div triggers, the clock div triggers, and kind of made it a little bit more friendly for the darker stuff, kind of spaced it out a bit. The quickest hit is happening every 8 steps. Smoothed out the plucks quite a bit and dampened them. I re-rigged all the pitch quantization just to an E minor. I transposed these. This one is 17 steps up, 7 steps up, 3 steps up, and 12 steps up. And then I tweaked the waveform, range, frequency, and FM oscillators just slightly, just to add some detuning. With all the shifting that's happening over here, I defined a nice, decent balance. So 3 of them ended up on 8, 1, 4 for the range. Kind of balancing between a sawtooth and a triangle, basically waveforms. Backed off the reverb. And then the rest of the magic is happening through Portal, Replica XT, and Valhalla Shimmer. So what Portal is doing is kind of smearing and slowing, if you will, just slightly these notes. Replica is adding an 8 dotted delay that's ping-ponged out. Tails are micro saturated. And Valhalla Shimmer, shifting up 1 octave, a little bit of feedback, probably 70% wet. Oh. Hey, what's up, Roku? Nope, no rewiring, just twiddling knobs. Yep. Nope, there's no sample involved here. This is all just synthesis. These are just oscillators coming out of Monarch. So you could use any oscillator. These are the stock oscillators in this patch. It's called squirrel fishing. And if you wanted to, you could sub these out with something more fun. Like you could take these and toss in some West Coast or something. Start modulating and maybe put a driver module in here. Yeah, super easy. Man, I still have not played with fragments and merits. Yeah, so Javar, the way that I've been doing these patches, I need to talk about them more. I always just get it kind of sucked into the conversation and then away we go each time. But all of the modifications happening to these racks are just front facing, like they're just knob tweaks, nothing rewired in the back. The Portal patch, surface smudge, I made a few small changes to this as well. I upped the compression gain, I curved it a bit. It's running at about 65% wet right now. There's just the smallest fraction of randomization happening in pitch there, which helps with the drag and texture. Replica is really simple, just, oh, I should have canceled out more. That gets more clear. Didn't even touch the cutoff, apparently. Added a micro pitcher, style 1. Saturated those tails a bit. Ping pong. Yeah. Threshold can be a bit lower. Absolutely. I wanted to keep it really, really minimal. There is the there's some other stuff involved here. So if we go and really push this and start tapping down the highs and bringing out some more stuff, there was some really cool like feedback squelching. So let's see if we can do it without hurting anyone. These bursts and swells get up there. But I had this at about 10 up and this at about 20, 22 down. Got a little edgy. Oh, the noise gate. I don't think I have a noise gate on my mic. Oh, yes, I have that here. Sorry, I just put that on because I went and I grabbed coffee and I didn't want anyone to die while I was hit one of those. I thought you were talking about the compression. I brought this back down just because I didn't want one of those swells going AWOL while I was in the other room. Ooh, a documentary about the score of Dune. Which Dune? Let me check and see if there's anything on the mic. No, I didn't think so. Recluse, welcome in. Zen, what's up? Happy Friday. There is only one Dune. How come you can use that emoji better than others, Roku? Your face comes through that face. What's up, Scruffy Rico? How you doing, man? Koala Dune actor. All right. Let's see who's dropped links so far. See what's going on today. I have some stuff to catch up on in these other channels here. Eight new messages. All right, people even dropping early this week. Lara Day. Oh man, it's been a minute. Okay. All right, let's open up the old text edit here. Just for comparison, really quick, I should do this. I should do this in every single stream. I'm not sure why I really haven't thought about these things. I apologize for that. This is what that ensemble actually sounds like originally. And you guys have heard me use that before. It's one of our squirrel items, but this is what it ended up sounding like after tweet. So yeah, it's a little different. Just a little. That is a pretty patch, right? Um. Oh, how do you save it as a snapshot? Well, once you've got something, You can come over here and save as. And you can save this as a new ensemble if you're looking for the snapshot option. In the sidebar here, if you go to this little kind of list icon thing here, and then come down to add, and we could call this one isolation, perhaps. And there you go. And then you also want to save the ensemble, which is what I was showing before. So you want to save as or save, right? Depending upon if you're wanting to keep the original kind of separate. Here's what I do. If I really plan on using stuff and kind of making it my own over time, I have a folder with the original ensemble, and then I save as into a different folder, into a different directory, my stuff. And then I just use the naming to kind of give myself a clue as to what the hell I did with it. But there you go. Yeah, and just like that, you're back to dark ambient, right, Daniel? Zamaritz, yeah, such a contrast, right? Yeah, I think it's just a matter of like maybe 3 minutes worth of just running through and tweaking each panel one by one to kind of get it into the ballpark of where I thought I wanted it, and then hit play, and then kind of fine tune it. I think it's pretty easy to take a patch and transform it pretty quickly. It's just a matter of doing it well and then remembering to save it, right? Yeah, you bet, Javar. You bet. Um, yeah, these things can be so freaking complicated feeling when you're chasing your tail, which is easy to do with Reactor. Fair. All right, Lara Day is up first. This is usually good stuff. Siriform is the name of this one. Let's check it. It's a pretty mellow patch or track. Turn this up for you guys a bit. Mm. This is it's really nice. It's very calm and soothing, and safe. I feel like a little bit more loudness would be kind of nice, so I could hear a little bit more depth and detail and make it a bit more overall immersive. Something to fall into a little bit more. I really like the movement. If you want to move away from safe and kind of get a little bit more, um, um, interest and excitement happening at a couple of points, you could play with some long form modulation on some saturation and kind of explore the the kind of teasing of harmonics and what that actually does. You could even try putting that on after your reverb to see exactly what more you can tease out with that added depth and finish. Oh, Roku's got a little thing here. Hulk Smash, welcome in. Happy Friday. Says, key to make lush landscapes and textures is to make mistakes on purpose. Don't try to force the sound. Let things collide and screech and squelch. Run things into a limiter individually on a track, like really loud, and then carve movement back in with envelopes, LFOs to make gentle soundscapes. You have to be not gentle to the sources. What's up, Jump Ties? Welcome in. Yeah, yeah. It's so like there are so many. There's so good, so many good methodologies, and I haven't heard one quite like this from you yet, Larde. And it's cool. It's very very mellow. It's like it's got a certain kind of impact. Um, so you might want to A B the saturation idea against just like a general depth and loudness boost through some multiband compression and see which one you prefer. Because as it stands now, um, it's safe and it's comforting and it's relaxing and um, it's pretty solid. It's pretty solid. Um, yeah, it all comes down to just how much dynamics and depth and stuff you want in something like this. That's good stuff. I like it. I like it. And if you're looking for more dynamic stuff, you know what Roku's talking about here? Absolutely. Like allowing things to commingle in uh, in a wide variety of ways, right? And then playing with what you allow to be disclosed over time from those results is also really fun, like filtering and whatnot. Yeah, it would sound pretty nice in surround. I think most ambient soundscape stuff is great in mistakes on purpose. That's called jazz. Oh man. Electronic music. Oh, that's awesome. All right, good stuff, Lorde. Jamesy the Rapper. Here we go. This one is Vigilante.
I'm a vigilante. They told me I keep on fucking antes. They said I'm no hero, I am anti. Shooting from the mosh pit, niggas feel me. I got close calls tryna call me. I got fake hoes tryna get me. I be no ice, ain't be jewelry. Swear on God that you ain't gon' swerve me. Gonna end me, now they feel me. They think my life be a show. Directed by Valentino. Only Bennett directing my videos. Slow ho. Hello. Where's that bitch? She been flexing in front of me, acting really rich. That be your daddy's money. You think you really slick? You really think that's your G-Wagon up in that crib? Deluxe, delete that pic because you acting really sus. Plus, I'm a vigilante. They told me I keep on fucking antes. They said I'm no hero, I am anti. Shooting from the mosh pit, niggas feel me. I got close calls tryna call me. I got fake hoes tryna get me. I be no ice, ain't be jewelry. Swear on God that you ain't gon' swerve me. Gonna end me. UK nigga, in it. Put your hands up if you own a ski max. Tell me that the crowd here aren't really vast. Tell me that this obstacle is really gonna last. Shit's a blast. Tell me how the fuck this nigga blew up without cab. Tell me he be on a promo. Tell me he on crack. His brain hella cracked. I think mine has. Deluxe, delete that pic because you acting really sus. Plus, I'm a vigilante. They told me I keep on fucking antes. They said I'm no hero, I am anti. Shooting from the mosh pit, niggas feel me. I got close calls tryna call me. I got fake hoes tryna get me. I be no ice, ain't be jewelry. Swear on God that you ain't gon' swerve me. Gonna end me.
All right, so I like the tune. The low end is just off in this one. It's got a little bit too much sub in the 808, so it's not really like shooting out of the speakers. It's more of just like this boom boom, and it could be like a oof oof. And I think it would feel a little bit better. It's flat in the mids and just really big in the lows on the vocals, so it's like holding them back. It's kind of weighting them all down. So I definitely cleaned that up and give them a little boost in the mix so they sit atop everything. And I think then we'll be able to hear a bit more detail in the vocals and kind of appreciate the audio, the auto tune work you're doing. Might want to skinny up the shape of the 808 just a little bit, make it just a bit more concave. Because right now it's just a little bit boomy, like in the middle of its delivery. Not it's not just the subs, but the subs in there can come down. Um, and I really like that intro texture that carries on. It's nice. A little bit of resonance in it. You might want to watch that once you clean up all the lows and get the vocals sitting up on top and everything. Make sure that resonance isn't really um, hitting people's ears weird. Let's see. Let's see what people in chat are saying here. Roku says, "Oop, track is clipping." Lows on vocals come way down from trem ties. Orchestration is on point. Hats are a little rough, but structure is good. Yeah, the delivery of the vocals is a little bit off. Timing wise, true. I kind of like the loose feel of this one, honestly. I don't know. I'd like to hear the whole thing cleaned up. I'd like the low end to be wrangled in so we can really hear and appreciate the detail work happening. Because I'm not so sure about all of the relationship between the beat and the groove and the vocals. Maybe I'll like it even more that loose. I'm not sure. Kind of tough to tell with those things until you hear it all clearly. But I do like the tune, and I think it's absolutely worth chasing until the end. Yo, Liquid Phase, welcome in. How are you? Good after morning, sir. All right, so we got one from Zamerits here called I See Earth. Zamerits, nice work on the track that you dropped for the challenge. We all enjoyed listening to it the other day, and congrats on the win again. Um, you've just been killing it. Such good stuff. Nice picture. This is great. All right, so this one's called Icy Earth. Rough mix. All right, cool. Some OhmLab space dust in there. This is this is really good. I think that it's got like some really serious cinematic value baked into it on a few different levels. Uh, I know you're saying it's not really mixed yet. I think that the volume mix is really going to be the big thing here for you, honestly, because you can make this whole thing so like dramatic and expansive and intimate and minimal and whatnot at different points. It's only 3 minutes long, and you've kind of got one of those palettes working here that can really um, be incredibly expressive with very small amounts of change, like processing wise or anything. You know what I mean? Like it's a really decent thing. Um, I think the noise layer specifically could have a little some slow filter modulation on the low end. The maybe it's rhythmic but not quite sync, right? So a little free form. Um, make it kind of wavy. I think that would feel really nice. And if you had a reverb that you were kind of modulating the dry wet on simultaneously, you could end up with some really kind of nice floaty washy feels, which would really reinforce the space theme. And then you could put a tiny little like short form delay on those those high register little plucky bits, synth bits, um, and cream those out in a reverb periodically as well. And then I think you'd have a nice little soundscape between those two, creating this atmospheric layer that could kind of house the whole thing. It'd be nice. This actually reminds me of one of my old tracks. Might want to also just play with long form volume modulation. Like I was saying before, I think a lot of volume stuff here can really do this some good. Just to kind of create separation between the different layers and call them out over time, so they all kind of get a little bit of spotlight time. Um, and once you hear a couple of them really low while the other ones are still kind of popping off, you'll discover some cool relationships between them, I'm sure. I really love the layering of movements in all of those. Oh, and then at 225, you've got this kind of almost like this kind of stasis moment, and it'd be cool if the whole thing could become kind of minimal in a way, where some of the kind of persistent ambience pad work or something comes way down or something, and then maybe it kind of opens back up or something. But I do think that there's an opportunity there for some kind of um, not like overly assertive, but like a pretty impactful dynamic change there for some kind of emotional uh, shift. It's just kind of ripe for it. Anyway, um, really nice. Really nice. Let's see what people are saying about this one. Loomish. Oh, Loomish, are you not aware of the monthly challenge? Okay, really quick. If you are sub to the channel, you get a free sound pack every single month. It's waiting for you in the Discord. It's in the subscriber rewards channel. You just have to link your two accounts, your Twitch and your Discord profiles, and boom, you'll be granted access. Whatever you're inspired to make with the free sample pack every single month, just drop whatever you make with it into the monthly challenge subscription channel here. Or submission challenge there. And we will listen to it on community listening and voting day, which is either the last day of the month or the first day of the next month, depending upon the day of the week, like how the calendar works that month. Everyone who participates gets another free sound pack. Winners get more free sounds, chance to be on a show. So do it. You would absolutely be a great addition to the regular mix, 100%. Hulk Smash loves this track. Scruffy Rico says this has potential. Tremtai says, wait, is that a polymeter going on right now? Multiple sequences. Yeah, yeah. Rain's here. Real alien space bats in the chat. 7-8 against a 4-4. Yes, says Zamerits. Very nice, very nice. Good ears. Man, our community is great. Tremtai says this has potential too. Loomish says it's beautiful. Scruffy Rico thinks you're a beautiful man. Or maybe he thinks this is beautiful, man. This is great. Sampled the MS-20 for the bass. Confirmed. Absolutely, Zamerits. You bet, dude. Always love hearing what you're working on. Oh, dude. Dude, Loomish. Sorry if we have not made that clear in the past. But yes, if you are sub to this channel, you get a free sound pack every single month. And a chance to get another free sound pack every single month. It's 2 sound packs free every month if you play your cards right. If you participate in the community and you're subbed, we keep your cups full. I also, this month, you guys, I am planning on getting a few new packs ready for y'all. Surprise, surprise. And I'll be looking for some input too. In regards to what kind of stuff you guys want to start seeing. I also want to add some small twists to the monthly challenge. coming up soon, so I will unveil those ideas soon. The next month's challenge, I think, is going to involve uh, some MIDI clips, some MIDI stuff. So, um, influencing you rhythmically, but not with like sonic specifics, if you will. Should make for a really interesting challenge. Hey, Rain, how are those new guitars treating you, by the way? Ghost ship. Ooh, Zamer or Tremties is saying I actually added a thing to the request channel for a challenge thing or a thing we could play with. Excellent, excellent. Shadow Fungi, welcome in. Okay, so really quick, we will check out the request thing here in a little bit. We'll listen to a couple more and then we'll dip into that. There will be a new channel being added to the Discord soon, and it will be an ongoing challenge. It will be the first channel of many, and it will be in its own little category called production. So we'll have a few different channels in there, or community production, or something like that, or collaboration. And the entire purpose of these channels, it's like a pass the mic challenge, right? It's like a sample flip challenge. We will individually or as small teams grab what was last posted in that channel and either add to it or flip it and then post it, and then someone else will claim it. And we will continue doing this. And we'll see these channels have forks in the themes and the tracks. So, you know, a track might seem complete and then someone remixes it and takes it in a totally different direction. I want to see what this community can do in regards to like offline collaboration opportunity, right? Where everybody hits pause on something while one person's working on it and they flip it and toss it back up. It's really fun. I do it with some production teams, and it's always the best. It's always the best. And I think that this community could do even better, honestly. So that's coming too. All right, here we go. This next one is from Loomish. Saxo Shift V1.
Cooking up before took it now before charging to the game. Took it now before charging to the game. 12 back my dope. Flush it down the drain. L before. Took an L before. Charge it to the game 12 back with dope. Took an L before. Took an L before. Charge it to the game 12 back with dope. Flush it. Flush it down the drain.
All right. First off, I see the comment from Roku in the chat. I think it's fucking wonderful that you guys are working together. Nothing but absolute greatness can come from this new relationship. And I'm looking even more forward to your tracks now. And I was already looking forward to them a great deal each week. So, funky sax. Yummy. The only thing about the sax is I kind of want a little less drive on it, so you can come up to that point at different points to kind of accent it and like bring it into this like position. But that's just me. Ambience texture is a bit hot in the mix in the beginning. That might just be a byproduct of the loudness. 120, there's a little bit of low or mid-low boom that's happening there. 143, it feels like the mids are a little bit driven there. Could be a byproduct of the loudness thing. Dude, just really good moments in this one. There's some flow. Which, like, it's nothing new, obviously. But this one's got a little extra, like, organic, Yeah, that edited, right? Yeah. All right, so let's see what people are saying. Let's see here. All right, well, other than loudness, people are really liking this one. It's really the only thing I see. Did you have a little glitch there at 218 sometimes? Yeah, organic. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. No, it is. It's a little more it's probably the sax. I mean, you've got a lot of really cool like rhythmic alignment and modulation ideas that you put on display in all of your stuff. So it might just be that kind of added organic element to the whole thing. But it does seem to have a bit of the like organic delivery. So yeah, sometimes the streaming audio is just a bit. All right, on to Recluse. He says, started this 2 days ago. It's a very rough draft and nowhere near finished. Haven't even taken the time to start mixing. Will sound a little repetitive and bland as I'm working on top line vocals and overall structure. Drop is me messing around with spectral interpolation between some saws and wavetables. Happy Feedback Friday. Let's listen to this thing. Audio Morph Whip. This has already got a ton of potential, of course. We would expect no less from Recluse. I like the metronome in there. This feels like, especially before all the bass stuff comes in, it feels like an RPG game intro. Like it's just beginning. You're like walking into the town, or like the backstory is just about to begin, or something. 48 seconds, a couple of surging reversal transition effects to support some of those hits would be kind of cool. Something kind of minimal, kind of swish or swooshish, and then moving up into whooshy, and then maybe some low end oomph support on some of those hits, but minimal, right? Just to add a little oomph, kind of grow into that full mix moment. 126, looking for more definition on that vocoded vocal early. Just to help it really sit on top of everything once the mix starts getting pretty full or fleshed out. And then not mixed, I think that this is already showing a ton of potential, honestly. I really can't wait to hear it. I think that just a little bit of atmosphere, a little bit of ambience, in some kind of environment would really kind of push this over the edge. So something to add, like maybe just like the essence of nature or something, right? Like you take like a field recording that's very minimal and you put that into some space and make sure that the definition of it isn't too great so it's not distracting or anything, but it kind of puts everything into a specific kind of a environment, right? I think it would really kind of push it over. This is really good. Really good. Let's see what the chat is saying about this one. Hulk smash. Yeah, you know what? YouTube streams do sound much better than Twitch streams. This is true. Eventually, I will hit the open button on the YouTube channel again. I know I took down all the videos a great while ago, all the old tutorial videos and whatnot. It's all of the live stream archives are over there. I've been sending them over there one at a time. So we'll open it all up. I just haven't been doing the streaming on the big socials and YouTube for the past couple of years. Just haven't. Man, people are loving this. Loving the chords. Definitely getting the game and anime feeling. Yeah, Loomish says the war drums are cool. If it had some low end, it would really bang more. Drumtie says he loves the vocoder. Jafar says really good start. Man, it's really good. So many people are digging this. Am I doing any sound design today? Probably not, because Feedback Fridays are so popular that we usually end up pushing it right up until the last second of the stream, usually spilling over in time and not getting to everyone. Very rarely do we actually see any kind of production work on a Friday. It's been a long time. Yeah, I would expect no less from you, Recluse, in regards to the atmosphere and all of that. All of this is so good. Yeah, this is good. Yeah, really digging that intro. Daniel's up next. Noriboshi, Ariella, Stargazer. We only have a couple more in the queue. Maybe there will be some sound design stuff today. Hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. So the arrangement, your palette, the concept, it's all really, really solid. We just need to work on the mix now. So you're probably wondering how you get those big metal drums up front from what you've got right now. A lot of that is going to come from some multi-band compression. I would really encourage you to use the upward compression rather than the downward compression. Give it a more expansive, kind of open and upward kind of feel, and really drive your focus on the mids in those, so you can hear um, just like the oomph and crack and punch of those drums. But you really want those to drive the whole feel of this thing. Aside from that, I think that better definition for each element in the mix is really going to help. So getting in there, um, and starting with a brand new volume mix is the very first thing. So um, pick your hero. It might be the drums. It's got to be the thing that's going to be up at the peak loudness, basically. Um, Mix everything else around that. Make sure that everything has its own place in the stereo spectrum and the frequency spectrum. Um, and Multiband compression again on the drums. The um, the loudness and the balance should all feel pretty good and impressive before going into the mastering phase. And really, the majority of this is just going to be EQ, compression, parallel verb instead of series verb. So if you're putting a reverb on a sound directly in your DAW, move that over to an auxiliary channel and bust the sound to that channel. Mix in the reverb to your liking. So it's just the reverb being added, and the original integrity of the sound is protected on its own channel. And of course, use an EQ after each reverb on those auxiliary channels, so you're controlling the output of those. And that way, everything stays really clean and clear in your mix, and you should start to hear more punch and definition for everything. Let's see what people are saying here. Cosmic Symphonic Power Black Metal. Loomer says, starting strong. You got Rain's attention. That's always good. Tremtai says, the kick needs to change. Wash it or turn it down, maybe. Recluse says, that's the plan as of now, but I'm going to go back and forth how I structure vocals. Right. Zaf feels a lot of that metal feeling coming through. Yeah, that accordion metal thing we had through here. You're right. Gemtai says Black Symphonic is a weird thing mix-wise because mostly it's not as in a shed recorded in a bucket kind of sound. It's mostly more clean. I'd say look at Garage Angren. Oh, you are welcome, Daniel. Absolutely. Rain says symphonic metal of all types is an absolute bear to mix, in my opinion. Yeah, once you've got a bunch of instruments that occupy a lot of that mid-range space, it can get a little tricky. You've got to really be good with making space in the stereo spectrum. Gotta really pay attention to where things are placed. Daniel, I hope that feedback helps. Feel free to drop it back in soon and let us hear an update to it. Help you get even closer. Ludella, you are up next, and I'm loving this profile pic. The Nutella picture is just grand. Oh, it's Baus. Let's get this name up here. Sessabrew. Sessabrew? Kessabrew? Welcome in. Happy Friday. I'm doing all right. How are you? All right, so this one is from Baus Perlade. Rockhound, you and I work in progress. Let's listen to this thing.
Remember, I promised to stay strong. Look into what you see in my eyes. My universe full of stars. I hope you know what do you do. But I'm not afraid, I'm with you. In the dark, I see bright sparks. You are my universe full of stars.
There's a lot to like about this one. You have brought us some fun stuff. This is one of those fun ones. The whole palette is pretty fun. It's got a nice kind of summer festival time kind of vibe about it. The luffs, that's the big one. You just got to wrangle those a bit. Um, I try to encourage everyone to be in control of how their stuff is delivered instead of the streaming platforms. And if you were to bounce something really loud and then turn down the volume of it and listen to it compared to something that's bounced right at the LUFS standards for the streaming platforms, you'll notice a difference, right? And so, do you want people to be hearing something that you dialed in the way that you want it, or do you want people to be hearing a turned down version of your song? So, I would wrangle the LUFS personally on this one. Give some space for people to turn it up. It's an exciting song. They're going to. I think it's a solid mix. It's a great arrangement. Like I said, it's a fun palette. Um, the other thing about when you're driving the LUFs like this is certain, harmonic resonant sounds, um, uh, like that Knox synth, right? The you're kind of pushing up against some pressure points. They're not pain points, but they're absolute pressure points. So when that type of sound is played, when it's been pushed that much through a bigger system at a higher volume, it kind of hurts. It doesn't translate as well as we would hope. So those are the reasons I mentioned the LUFs. And let's see what the chat's saying. And yeah, dude, I love the Nutella thing. I think it's absolutely great. Hey, Kwame. What's shaking? Tremtai says, this is funky, though. What's not free if you got to subscribe? Hulk Smash. Yeah. Think peak is 11, average is 14. Oh, okay. Well, I would guess that it was actually a higher LUFS. Uh, but if it's just 14, then that's really kind of right there. There's a couple like Spotify, I think is 16. So it would be a very minimal change. But Trem ties. Gotcha. Well, the community challenge. No, it is for subscribers. It is for subscribers. Oh yeah, absolutely. I really don't have anything for you on this one in regards to changes. Javar says it seemed pretty hot. It did feel driven, and you know what? It could also just be a matter of driving stuff before the final maximization, which is a really easy thing to do as well. You can fight against some of that by EQ, like as you're working on your loudness. In your stages. I don't know. I tend to just try to do all of my loudness boosting toward the end. Um, so that way things aren't being saturated multiple times or whatever, and you start to get those fiddly bits up top, right? It is sounding great though. Well, Neg 5 Luffs just gets turned down. Um, yeah, it's a pretty loud thing. Neg 5 Luff. It also depends on what you're producing, but regardless, like in regards to like how you like it, but regardless of how you like it, the streaming platforms are not going to adjust for a person or a song. So, for Zen is up next. Oh, please delay my entry. I am having dinner. Well, Zen, are you ready? Yeah, see that, Bouse? We've got people remembering you as you walk in the door, so it's good stuff. All right, I don't see a response from Zen, so I'm going to come back to this. They can hear the feedback live. Tremties, you're up. This one, he is saying, okay, this is a little deleted scene kind of thing for the Space Dust Challenge that didn't make it as the final submission, but I think the idea and foundation is really friggin' solid. Also means this is raw, not mixed or anything yet. Also, sorry in advance for the blue. Here we go. This is some Space Dust stuff. Ooh, and it's also got glitch toppers. No, it's got funky. So Space Dust and funky. Oh. Z. Tremties, you've done it again. This was cool. Space Dust plus funky topper. Nice combination. Dude, that bass? Like I mean the upper register synth was great too, but like the bass got all the attention there in that moment from me. A great choice. It wasn't expected. And it wasn't like jarring. It was like really, really pleasing, very satisfying. Really really nice alignment there. That little jump sound really just adds to this kind of game vibe that's going on here. I like a lot about this one. There's like an absolute mashup of sounds here. So it's got almost kind of like an arcade feel to it already. Yeah, those little jump sounds and those synths and yeah, it's just got the strong game vibe right now. Feels like a combat scene of some kind. I just want to hear this mix now. Yeah, that jump sound. Oh, that's mod bits too. Man, at this. Sprinkling in multiple OhmLab sounds. That's good stuff, man. That is good stuff. It's very fun. I think I was more caught up in enjoying this than I was assessing it. When you're going through and mixing this one, make sure that you're kind of aggressive in your low end EQing on everything except for that bass, so it really, really hits. The other thing you might want to do is scoop just a little bit out of the mid on that bass and then accent the highs so you can get the juxtaposition of the oomph and the crunch, and really kind of put it on display, kind of separate them a little bit and then squish them together. I think it'd sound really, really tight. So I agree with you. I think the idea and foundation is really solid. It's good. It's good stuff. Yeah, exactly. Leave some of the mid highs and highs for the plucks, and also just work with your stereo spectrum, right? Like you don't need to keep much in the middle on this one. It's like two elements. Yeah, and those the the top line can be moved out a bit more. Yeah, I think you've just got some stereo spectrum stuff to play with, and then just be kind of aggressive with the low end, wrangling on everything but that bass, so you really get it. And then also play around with the cutoff point and your dB per octave curve on your cut for that bass, because there's going to be a sweet spot, and it's not going to be down around, the lower points where you might normally cut something like that. Like it's not going to be at 30. It might be at like 38 or something like that. But when you find it, it's going to jump. You're going to feel kind of like this jump in presence and stop when you get there. Yeah, yeah. Ripsy23 says, "Yo, I'm an upcoming artist manager in the music industry. Would love some feedback on my track, and if anyone down to collab, I'm down too." Thank you guys. Ribsy, hit the Discord. There's a collab channel. You can drop links to your stuff in the Post Your Links channel as well. People are always down to collab and have a good time here. You're gonna like this community. And if you're looking for talent, there's a lot of talent here. Oh, Bows, you're awesome. And Tremtize, this was fun. This was fun. Good. Nice, Ribsy. Yeah. Post your links. All right, here we go. This next one. Do we have Zen back in the chat yet? I'm gonna try to give this feedback live. All right. Zen left a note for us here. Please delay my entry. I'm having dinner, so I'm gonna circle back to that one. That means Sessa Brew's up. And if feedback, if the queue stays light like this, oh, hey, Zen, what's up? Let's do this. We skipped you, but only by one. Welcome back. Hope dinner was good. All right, so this one's called Chimes. No, it's not your bad. It's good. Sessa Brew, you are next. We were waiting for Zenasi to come back from dinner. So, all right, we're listening to this, and then you're up, Sessa Brew. Tessa Music, welcome in. Happy Friday to you. All right, so I think this is it's good. It's fun. It's solid. I think just a little extra filter modulation on the synth delivery would be cool. What I mean by that is it doesn't have to be as static when you're delivering each note. There could be just a little bit of variety over time in the attack parameter, for instance, or just so you're slightly changing up the feel as it's playing. It's going to kind of enhance that kind of right, that kind of stirring feel that you get. Um, all MPC workflow, by the way, big ups. The ducking in general on this does not have to be as deep or aggressive throughout as it is on all of your layers. So I would suggest varying the depth and the timing just ever so slightly on each one of those. And then it's going to feel a little bit more organic too. It's not going to feel so static and everything is just pumping. It's going to have a bit more of this kind of like mm, organic, like a flow, like a groove to the actual ducking. I know that sounds a little weird, but there's a difference when once you start to kind of play with those boundaries a little bit. And it also helps you kind of tune into the layers of sounds instead of a perceiving it more as like a unified wall of sound, right? Um, as Kwame said, this has got a sexy kind of a sound, so you really want to kind of lean into that and massage the boundaries of all of your parameters and play with the edges of your sounds, right? Like I was saying, like vary the delivery of your first synth here in the mix. Just these tiny, tiny little things. It's all these tiny details that kind of really amplify that kind of a vibe. Um, I would also encourage you to play with some long form detuning modulation. So just put like a slow moving LFO on the fine tune of a couple of um, your synths, the oscillators on your synths, and not a lot, but drift them, right? Like take them up to like 1/4 step out of tune and then back, right? And like 0.25 or 0.24, and just a nice slow 16 bar LFO one, and maybe a another one that's running at like a 24 bar clip, right? So they're slowly detuning from each other in different directions, and since running at different sync rates, they're kind of moving across each other, and that's going to make it feel as if the whole thing is evolving, which kind of means that it's unpredictable, right? It's not just this repetitive churn or just this repetitive modulation or swirl. It's something that people really find themselves getting kind of lost in each time they listen to it because they can't actually predict the results of the commingling of the falling out of tune or sync with one another and moving at different rates. It's all going to kind of enhance the perception of all of that. It's also going to add a bunch more depth and immersiveness because the detuning is where all of the natural chorus and beating comes from in synth work too. So. I think the mallets are nice. I think that they're a little bit too clean and a little bit too present at times. One thing that could help with that, without changing any of that, it would just be a perception shift, really, is play with the delay tails a little bit. Take them out of tune just a little bit, put a little micro shift on them or something like that so they have just a little bit of to them. Maybe saturate them a little bit so they stand out just slightly from the original sound, right? So your job at this point in a mix like this is just try to find these subtle ways to create more separation between the individual elements, and that includes the original sound versus the reverberated sound or the delayed sound or whatever. So very, very small kind of massaging types of things is what I would recommend for this one. It's a solid track. Let's see what other people are saying. Sweet Escape, if you could toss that into the Discord so we don't lose it in this chat, that would be great. Wait, why is this not working? There we go. That's what I'm trying to do. Yeah, there you go. It's like it's just these little things that you can kind of play with. Zen, as far as what you can do to create the separation in interest, right? There's no one proven recipe that everyone should follow or anything. So if you've got some fun ideas of busting some stuff out, granularizing it, bringing it back into the mix in a different way, then absolutely do that. It's those kind of ideas that ultimately begin birthing new workflows, and that it can be parlayed from one project to the next, and then that over time starts to build a signature sound, right? um, so absolutely doing it. All right, let's see what the chat's saying. The moist mix radio edit. Drumtie says those pads seem off to me, not sure if it's note wise or modulation wise. Yeah, there's some notes that need to be integrated better for it to work. Play with some fifths, thirds, smooth out some notes, semitone apart. Hmm. Okay, yeah. So if you're worrying about CPU, just move to audio quicker. Move to audio quicker. I have this conversation with people, like on the production teams quite a bit, especially with younger folks, interns that are just starting to learn this stuff. We hold on to MIDI tracks in our projects the same way that we hold on to our blankies and pacifiers and stuff when we're little kids, and we don't want to let them go. We're afraid that something bad might happen, and it's not going to. You can turn off that MIDI track. You can mute it and not delete it. It's still going to be there. Switch it, just bounce stuff to audio as you're working, and it's going to give you a 100% guaranteed predictable outcome every single time. Synthesis, not so much, right? Synthesis is where your magic happens, right? Like where you're birthing your stuff from. But where you take it from there, just focus on audio, and your CPU will be a thing of the past. But also, it'll give you more confidence in your workflow. There is something significant that happens mentally if you start to commit to things as you move forward in a mix. You can always go back and make edits. That doesn't change just because you're moving to audio quicker. But do it. You'll feel a shift. Not just hear a shift or see a shift, but you'll feel it. Nova Arts, welcome in. Happy Friday. You got a Turkish track. Excellent, excellent. Bring it. Mm-hmm. Oh, it was your first track in the MPC. Extra big ups. Extra. That's awesome. For anyone who's tried to produce entirely within the MPC workflow, it can be a challenge. It's just like working with any other just piece of soft or a piece of hardware, right? And doing it all within that little confine. That's some work. Good on you for doing this. That's a really good output for your first time around. Sessa Brew, you are up. Hope I'm saying the name right, by the way. Zen, thank you for the entry. Here we do. This is In the Dark.
I can see you better in the I can see you better in the dark.
Man, this little soundscape that you started with in the intro, before that transition was really nice. I think I would add I would encourage you to add a second transition effect there to bolster the dramatic delivery. One a little bit longer than the other, so the second one maybe make it like a 16 bar, while that other like 8 bar, whatever it is, jumps in there. I think it would add to the tension and release, and just kind of make it a bit more of a dramatic shift there. 144 at a few different points here. You can kind of feel it from the onset, but the mids are a little bit full, a little bit too forward, and I think that some of it's just coming from just a little bit of overcompression in that space without more separation being found for those elements first. So everything feels like it's kind of on top of one another and more like one sound than separate sounds working cooperatively. That makes sense. And that is usually just a byproduct of compression along the way as well. Because if you're compressing the individual sounds and then you compress them together and they're all operating within the same range of frequencies for the most part, it's going to be harder to distinguish the individual characteristics of each as you're playing through the track. So I would encourage you to maybe go back and remove the compression that is not in the final mixdown and mastering, and see how you feel about the whole mix without that added layer of compression. You might like it. The other thing you can try is just working each individual element just a little bit more intensively with some multiband compression, and find a better isolation point for each of them in the stereo field, right? Kind of wrangling in the range in which they are operating across the stereo spectrum. So that way, if they are going to be squished together more, then at least you've got a little bit more separation and you can hear the individual sounds in the full mix. Either one is probably going to treat this pretty well. You're really, really close to having a super, super, super solid mix here. Everything else about it feels pretty good. That said, EQ work helps, right? Like if there is any shaving of frequencies that you can do, here's what I would typically do. If there were 3 kind of similar sounds in the mix, I would open up the EQ for each of them and look at them in real time and see where the buildup is happening, and then listen to them individually and decide, just make a decision of what's the focal point of this sound, what's the focal point of this sound, and what's the focal point of this sound. Carve away a little bit of space in each one to make room for the focal points for each other, and then find a place for them in the stereo spectrum that's a little bit more isolated than they are now. And I think that this whole thing starts to feel just that much better. The only other thing that you could probably do to help that without really re-engaging with the mix too much is just volume changes. Volume changes, and they can be small things, right? Small fades on things so you can hear an element coming up while others are actively already up. Just tiny little things to help call attention. Other than that, which are all pretty nitpicky things, this is a serious vibe. It's got a really good sound to it. It's got some potential value-wise too. Let's see what the chat is saying. And just lots of really good decisions in there, mix-wise. Novarts, yes, we will listen to everyone's. I was just counting while we were playing through. I think there's 6 more. We'll go ahead and close the queue here. So everyone that's in here will be heard. So Ribsy, you'll be up next. Some people learn what the MPC is. Yeah, Tremtize is loving the little subtle chiptune stuff in the background. Novarts, thank you. Yeah, we've kind of honed the Feedback Friday workflow over the last couple of years. Zen is loving the Electro House vibe on this one. Jack of Spades official, welcome in. Happy Friday to you. It does sound great, doesn't it? Tremtai says white noise could come down just a little bit. Watch highs of the kicks. Um, maybe a gate on that. Some of that might be helped with the volume balancing. It might just be some things pushing. When there's buildups, funny things happen. We perceive things differently when there's buildups of frequencies in funny places. So I would dial everything in and give it a really critical listen after that. People loving the outro. Jafar is wrapping his mind around the limitations of using just the MPC to get a track out. And yeah, Zen, being forced to prioritize certain things, just working within restrictions is the best kind of challenge. Everybody's loving this one. Roku says, I got drugs. Coffee and cigs, but still I got drugs. I'm glad it was a successful mission, Roku. Tremtai says, drugs are bad, okay? Sesabrew says, good criticism, man, thank you. This is a year-old track, and I couldn't get to the mix, so I entirely changed everything in the master. Yeah. Traptize. All right, next up is Ribsy, 23. Let's do this. Nobody. That's what this one's called. And away we go.
Yeah, my side piece, that's my Nina, yeah. Diamonds floated like Katrina, yeah. She said I really wanna see her, yeah. Fuck these hoes, ain't not nobody. Fuck these hoes, ain't not nobody. Said she wanna go to Italy, yeah. Just to link up with my enemies, yeah. Only Ben Frank is a friend of me, yeah. Fuck these hoes, ain't not nobody. Fuck these hoes, ain't not nobody, yeah. Yeah, these boys, they trash, I'm littering. All I know is get that money and take some Ritalin. Never really cared about them or not no fitting in. All I hear is plug talk coming from middlemen. I just put that walk inside, my Minute Maid. Just hit like 20K, I'm gon' pop that ace of spade. I pull up in that spaceship like I'm out of space. I got money coming in like in and out of states. They tryna be like us, but I know they can't relate. Bitch, I'm eating steak and rice off a gold plate. Yeah, I know you broke, so go find a roommate. Never listen to them, never listen to the hate. What they say. Yeah, my side piece, that's my Nina, yeah. Diamonds floated like Katrina, yeah. She said I really wanna see her, yeah. Fuck these hoes, ain't not nobody. Fuck these hoes, ain't not nobody. Said she wanna go to Italy, yeah. Just to link up with my enemies, yeah. Only Ben Frank is a friend of me, yeah. Fuck these hoes, ain't not nobody. Fuck these hoes, ain't not nobody, yeah.
All right. The first thing to mention here, Ribsy, is really nice work getting the vocals on top of the mix. You kept them nice and crispy, and they absolutely cut through. And there was a fair bit of attention to detail on those on the vocal EQs. That same kind of attention to detail needs to be applied to the processing on the synths now. And here's why. So this whole ambience layer, like the pads and the samples that are kind of mixing together, they can be brought down just a little bit. And also the reverb that's on that, it sounds like it's all being done in series, and if you move it over to a parallel channel, that just means sending your sound to an auxiliary channel on a bus and putting the reverb over there, and then bringing up the volume on that channel. Once you have your reverb all dialed in the way that you want it, bring it up to the amount of reverb that you want in your mix. And then the next thing you do is you put an EQ on that channel, on that reverb channel directly after it, and EQ out the lowest frequencies, and be fairly aggressive on this one. Bring it all the way up to like 250, 300, maybe even 500. It's going to create so much more clarity in your mix, because that swirling mess of frequencies that sounds good as like a collective ambience in this track, as a texture in the track, doesn't treat anything kindly in the mix once it's reverberated, because those frequencies are the same frequencies and they're kind of blurred and kind of hanging around in the air. Think of them as like the dust motes that you see in the room, like when the sun is coming through your blinds and you're like, oh man, I'm breathing all that shit. But it's kind of like that stuff just kind of hangs and lingers. And then what that does is it makes the rest of your stuff in your track sound kind of muddy or washed out or not so clear. So if you can put that stuff out on a parallel track and then take out the lows there, I think you're going to find a lot more clarity in your mix. I'd give the drums a little more love here. Some saturation or multi-band compression, just to help give them a little bit of lift in this mix, and yeah, just help them pop a little bit. They need to slap just a little bit more. That ARP, the melodic synth that comes back in towards the end, it's a bit tucked back and muddled, and I think that part of that is the reverb frequencies that you'll be cutting out, so you'll get a little bit back from that. But the other thing is I would probably just add like a little subtle overdrive to that, maybe roll out the lows and mid lows on that ARP and see if it sits a little bit better in the mix. All of that's going to help. All of that's going to help. Let's see what the chat's saying about all of this. Rain's brewing more coffee. Oh man, good luck with the guitar, man. All right, let's see here. Trumtai says reverb's a little messy on the synth. Bring that down earlier to make space for the vocal right away. Yeah, I'd agree with that, but I would say keep it out throughout the entirety of the mix. It's also saying the beat is unique. Really don't hear this many textures in trip hop or trap hip hop. I love it personally. I like the texture. Ribsy says I forgot to put the ad libs on the hook at the end. Oh. Recorded this with an audio engineer, so don't want to put it in and mess up any of the mix so far. Probably won't master it, just gonna make another song, right? Other than fix the ad-libs. Oh man. Yeah, this is a solid one. Yeah, get those ad-libs in there, clean up the frequencies on that reverb. EQ that ARP a little bit. I think this thing is, I think it's a good one. Chakra DMB is here. Welcome back, Chakra. Happy Friday to you. Ribsy, thank you for contributing. Let's see what Chakra's bringing this week. This is always good stuff. This one's called Momentous.
Afraid of God.
I'm afraid of you.
Yo, Chakra. Dude. Danby, welcome in. Happy Friday to you. Great intro build. The release was fantastic. The sample choice was flipping fantastic. Both samples were great. I I don't even want to I don't even want to change so much about this. Maybe some reverb swells on that bass right there around that moment between like 38 and 48. Those little bends you've got in there. That lead synth, in those moments where it's kind of flying solo in the upper register, it'd be cool if there was just like this subtle little amount of something that's like tapping at the integrity of it, right? Whether it's like a subtle pitch shift or a ring mod or um, something that gives it just a little bit of quake, or some kind of unexpected instability or imperfection. I think it would go a long ways in this. With all of the other textures and stuff, it's one of the only like truly stable uh, elements in the entire thing, which has a really nice grounding feel. On the other hand, though, it also kind of begs for a little something. Love the minimal breakdown 158 and the dramatic build back out of it. I love the surges in this thing. This is fine. STP1, happy Friday. Welcome back, homie. Let's get going to an NCIS lab scene. Yeah, this has got value, man. This has got some serious value. All your stuff has value, obviously. It's a good one. All right. Kai-san? Kiss him? Kiss him? Don't let me murder your name if I'm saying it wrong. One's called Glitch from Kai-Sam. Here we go. Oh, man. Lose the sub and the kick. And this thing is just about perfect. Man, there's a few things. There's a few things, like small embellishments, that I would encourage you to add. Like this last little bit of synth work at the end. It's very playful, and it would be really neat if you just kind of opened up the high end just a couple, like at a couple of key peak points. Man, these keys at the beginning, it sounds like a cross between a suitcase piano and a kalimba. Like you've made a little hybrid here. And it feels really satisfying. And it plays so well with all of these poppy sounds that you've got, the classic water drop and the super tight control of the timing. It really blends with all of that so well. It's a really nice theme, really good palette. It's solid. And this lead, man, when it comes in, it adds a layer of organic fluidity that is like, it's obviously juxtaposed to the like hardcore, like rigid control of timing of everything. And this lead just comes sailing over. It's a really nice moment. It's really good. It's got a very 90s progressive fusion jazz jam band kind of tightness thing going on. Very nice. Yeah, a little bit of Cohen. A little bit of Cohen. Or is that Kaon? Sorry, I read that as a typo for a second. I thought it was Cohen. And of course the sax. But yeah, really, like the one thing that I would say about this, I mean, there's tiny little nitpicky things like, hey, it'd be cool if that one thing just opened up just a little bit, or if this was rolled off just a little bit here, is the kick. It doesn't need the subs that it's got in it, and it's kind of wreaking havoc in a couple of spots. And it's also kind of taxing on the ears. So there are a couple of points in this where my ears are feeling like they're getting a workout when they should be feeling like they're sitting in a freaking spa, basically, because it's a really, really great soundscape that you've painted here. I just kill the subs in that kick. It really doesn't. Okay, cool. I will check that out, Tremties. Let's see what else is being said in the chat. Hmm. Yeah, it's mostly just the kick, I think. Man, this is solid. This is very good stuff. Very good stuff. Thank you for pleasing our ears. Flow is up next. This one's called Pixlr Mixed Signals. Yo, Jacket Space, this you? Okay. highs get a little wily in a few places. You know, it's just one of those things. When you're really driving a track to get the kind of oomph and warmth and vibe from the low end and have it be so dominant, it's easy to want to apply all of that to the entirety of the mix to really get the whole thing feeling together. Downside, of course, is the resonance, and those ultra high frequency pain points really start to get a little spotlight time, and that's the downside of it. So here's what I would recommend is treat your highs and your lows separately, and just roll off some of those highs in general. You know, maybe everything just kind of gets capped at like 10K for those upper register elements in the mix, and then just use a gentle curve, right? Like maybe a 12 dB per octave curve or something like that. So you're still hearing the frequencies above 10K, but they're being attenuated, right? They're not gonna be too crispy. Man, there's a lot of feels here. There's a lot of feels in all of this. The only thing the only thing that kind of felt missing in this at times was the reverberation Atmos ducking thing. Like we're close at so many different points. Here, I'll just pull this up right here. If that kick itself, and nothing but the kick, is being reverberated and controlled, but I think it would add the icing on the cake. The vibe would be complete. Not much to pick apart here. Really enjoy it. I just watch the highs. Why would one sleep in one's boots? Many human conditions make no sense. The space droids. You sleep in techno when the text says not yes, but no. So if the computer doesn't work, you go sleep, and the sound you make when snoring is called techno. Oy. It seems complicated. Yeah, it is complicated. Sleep is supposed to be simple. All right. We've only got a couple more here. This is a very complicated name. I'm going to try it. Efek Agnagasi. I failed. I'll say Callum on this one. Novarts. Okay, this is you. Sweet. Okay, so this is what, some Turkish? Aha. Well, see, now it makes more sense because you've got some spaces in there. All right. Well, good to have you in. And this one is called Orumsek or Orumchek. Let's check it out.
Tepeden tırnağa ördü örümcek, yaşayacağın hep boşa ömür deneyecek. Bir yol bul ya bir son delirecek can. Bir çocuk var içimde benimle ölecek. Tepeden tırnağa ördü örümcek, yaşayacağın hep boşa ömür deneyecek. Bir yol bul ya bir son delirecek can. Bir çocuk var içimde benimle ölecek. Tepeden tırnağa ördü örümcek, yaşayacağın hep boşa ömür deneyecek. Bir yol bul ya bir son delirecek can. Bir çocuk var içimde benimle ölecek. Sorun yok hiç, sorun yok, hayır hayır. Sonun bok, evet sonun bok, haraftayım. Bu uçurum gibi yüksek, kafam uzaktayım sizden, izim yok ne yazık, failim kayıp adı. İstesem istemesem hep boşa hep. Şehrim sessiz, yağmurlar kulağıma renk. Neler var görsen olamaz buna denk. Piste gel dans et benimle, ölecek bütün bu sesler. Gözüm açtığında ne için yaşarım, ya da gözlerim kapandığında. Seni bilemem ama ben her anın bir anlam olması için yaşıyorum. O yüzden tepeden tırnağa ördü örümcek. Yaşayacağın hep boşa ömür deneyecek. Bir yol bul ya bir son, delirecek can. Bir çocuk var içimde benimle, ölecek. Tepeden tırnağa ördü örümcek. Yaşayacağın hep boşa ömür deneyecek. Bir yol bul ya bir son, delirecek can. Bir çocuk var içimde benimle, ölecek. Tepeden tırnağa ördü örümcek. Yaşayacağın hep boşa ömür deneyecek. Bir yol bul ya bir son, delirecek can. Bir çocuk var içimde benimle, ölecek.
All right, backing vocals can come up a little bit, I think. There were a couple of like volume sweeps with a couple of them that came up to a really nice loudness, but in general, I feel like you're doing some really nice work there. If you brought them up a little bit and you brought down that synth ambience that's happening back there, the heavily reverberated stuff, you bring that down in the mix, there's going to be less competition. You're going to hear the backing vocals more. It's going to be more impressive, like the commingling of the main vocals and background vocals and the processing there, the auto tune, all of that's going to commingle and create its own special kind of a mame in this whole thing. The reverb on everything just needs to be EQ'd. Okay, so if you are putting a reverb on the track directly, just for effect, make sure that you're using the built-in filter or EQ controls to take out as much of the lows and the highs as possible while still giving you the reverberation that you want. It's the lowest frequencies and the highest frequencies in the reverb channels right now that are building up and creating competition and even a little bit of uncomfortableness in the very highs at a couple of specific points in the mix. So that's one thing. The reverbs just kind of need to be wrangled. If you've got reverb on a parallel channel, just put an EQ right after the reverb on that channel and make sure that you're eliminating most of the low mids and lows on all that synth stuff. And that's and maybe even scoop a little bit around 500 out of that reverb channel as well on all of that synth stuff, and it's going to feel much better. It's going to feel like there's less competition happening between the original signal from those synths and the reverberated signal, number one, and that competition being eliminated is going to open up the middle of your mix for your vocals and your backing vocals. It's going to be a big level up for this track. And in response to your question about the tuning specifically, I think it's pretty solid. I'm okay with the strange tuning on an outro. Anything that can add a little tension in something like this, I think is great, especially on the way in or the way out, because it makes people take notice. So I'm kind of a fan of artistic decisions like that. Let's scroll up here and see what people are saying in the chat. All right. People are liking this. Agree. Actually, all the reverbs have EQ, but you can check it. Thank you so much. You're number one streamer. Yeah, well, thank you. Very kind words. Thank you. I will say that it's just a matter of buildup. It's just a matter of buildup in those things. So it's entirely possible that there just needs to be a little bit more EQ work done on those synth tracks. There could be some resonance in there that's just being multiplied, amplified by the reverb. It could be that the reverb levels are just too high. which is something that's really easy to do. Um, but yeah, just kind of wrangle in the overall range of that reverb and the presence of it. And I think that you'll find that everything just really starts to lock in, and you'll find a ton more clarity. And those vocals, man, those backing vocals, you're doing some really good stuff there. So put it back up on display a bit better. This is good stuff. Saf, have a good weekend, homie. We'll see you on the flip, dude. All right, we got Jack of Spades up next. Here we go, Astral Projection. Ooh, I like this Red Sea. Dig it. All right, so the bass. I want a little more edge on it, just some saturation, no actual distortion, just simple overdrive, and target like 7K. So just as a quick example, um, that would, oops, that would look like something like this. Like that. So no difference to the output, just very just like a tiny little bit of juice running through a very simple transparent overdrive, no actual distortion, and that's going to generate harmonics straight up between the focal point of that bass all the way up through 7K, and you're going to feel that difference. I mean, you'll hear an auditory boost, yeah, but you'll feel a difference, a definition, an edge to the actual bass. And you could probably use that on a couple of different things in this track, honestly, but the bass for sure. And what else do I have in here? That ghostly synth vibe in the back playing alongside that like little Game Boy Square synth in the back is a pretty solid, fun combination. I like it. That said, that whole scene taking place back there is a little muddled. It's not quite at the level of clarity that I think we all want. So more definition and clarity on the individual elements will make the whole thing really pop. It's probably just a little bit more precision work on the EQ for each individual thing. You also might want to try, if you've got your compression before your EQ and your signal chains, try putting your EQ first, just to make sure that your compression is responding to the signal strength that you want it to be. Oftentimes we'll have a peak in the really lows, or like low end of something, and it's a mid-range sound, and so your compressor is actually holding back the output of the sound the entire time. Little tiny things like that in the mixing of this, I think, is just going to make a really big difference overall. Let's see. Oh, we got a question here. Can we? Oh yeah, dude. I'll post your notes in really quick into the Discord here in just a sec. Let's see what else is being said. Yeah, I do save all the VODs, but VODs are for subscribers. Yeah, no, Varts, don't even worry about it. I'll get you set up here in just a second. All right, so you're gonna sidechain the choirs fit the little synth. Yeah. I'm still here, Rico. How you doing, man? Yeah, we are doing any kind of music, but we are wrapping up right now. Trem ties, I don't know. I think they've always been sub only, but I'm not 100%. Let me just undo. Let's just step back in time. Oh, it was very little. There's very little feedback on this one. All right, we'll put this in here in the thread. We'll call this feedback. All right, there we go. So there's your feedback. Hey, Trem ties, you take care as well. The rest of you, before y'all go anywhere, tell me who's streaming right now. Who's up? Who's up and where are we going? Let's go show someone some love. Don't y'all go anywhere. Go drop you off somewhere really fun. It's Friday. Let me just refresh my browser here and see who's up. Doing what? Oh wow, not many people actually doing their thing right now. Let's go see Josh. Let's go see Josh, see what he's up to. You guys, thank you, as always, for bringing the heat. You guys always bring such really good stuff on Fridays. It's definitely the best day of the week. I will see you again on the flip on Monday. We'll have some kind of awesome, fun production stream together. Probably do some learning, have some real talk, all that good stuff. Stay inspired over the weekend. Make something great with your new samples. Remember, you got gold to play with. Sequenced trinkets. There's nothing better. I'll see y'all on the flip. Big love. Peace out.
For the rain, welcome to the stream, yo. We're live and in thunderstruck of all things. Shout out to OhmLab, yo.